Hello students, welcome to YouTube channel Vidya for Success.
Dear students, in this class, let us study a new unit, organization of data. So everyone is very much curious regarding what is this organization of data? What is data? Data, as I said earlier, it is a raw facts. These raw facts are of no use unless and until you work on them. If you work on these raw facts, I mean to say data, then you will be getting information. Using that particular information, we can consider, or else we can take up any of the decision, or else it will be difficult for us to run the business or any process. So that's why data needs to be converted into information. But to convert data into information, first of all, they need to be organized in a proper way. So that is what organization of data meant by. Okay, so here in this particular unit you will be studying how to procure the data. So in order to procure the data for your study, for your research, how you are going through all the procedures, all the phases or all the stages of procuring the data, and what happens after procuring. So how are you going to analyze this particular data? So all these concepts are dealt in detail in this particular unit. So we will be beginning this particular unit by the topic statistical enquiry. So what is enquiry? So there are too many newses that are coming within the newspaper talking about enquiry. So either police will be conducting inquiry, or else an independent judge will be taking up an inquiry, or else any particular academician may be considering an inquiry. So what is inquiry meant by? Inquiry is nothing but knowing the truth. Okay, so what is inquiry? Inquiry is nothing but knowing the truth. It is nothing but searching for knowledge or searching for truth. So there are a lot of facts, lot of data, but we are interested only in a piece of information which is very relevant for me to take up a decision. So I am looking for that piece of material within a huge pile of data. So that is what inquiry meant by. But when we talk about statistical inquiry, what is statistical inquiry then? So, inquiry means search for knowledge or truth. But what is statistical inquiry? A statistical inquiry means a search for knowledge through statistical methods. What does it mean? There are too many statistical methods. You can sometimes, for example, within a class, there are, let us say, 50 students are there. I want to study who is the topper, or else topper is by how much percentage marks has scored more marks compared to all the other students. What is the difference between the topper and others, other student marks? Or else what is the variation of his marks? So that particular topper marks from the last test or last exam, what is the variation, whether he has scored consistent marks or not. So in order to consider all these things, I can use some statistical techniques and tools or methods. Maybe let us say I can go with totaling, I can consider average, I can go with percentage, I can go with the covariation. What is a covariation? Standard deviation. What is a standard deviation? I can go through. I can plot a graph. So by different means I can study a set of data and can conduct an inquiry via which I'll be knowing what is the knowledge of this particular data, what is the truth behind this data. So, what is statistical enquiry? Statistical enquiry means a search for knowledge through statistical methods. Presently, we are facing an unprecedented situation because of COVID-19, isn't it? So, what's happening throughout the country? There were a lot of, in the beginning of the March, we went for a lockdown for an extended period of more than 1 month. For during those period, shops were shut down, people were out of work, out of wages, out of salary, and during that particular time there were a lot of casualties as well. In the beginning, medias were reporting there were 1 cases, 2 cases in a particular state, 15 cases in a state, but later on these cases went up. Now let us take the case of Karnataka. What to say, going through 9,000, 8,000 cases, corona cases per day. So we how to analyze this, how to go through this particular data? So we will be collecting data from different agencies, and we will be working on them. If for example, if the coronavirus is what to say increasing in this particular pattern, what is going to happen after 2 months, whether there will be a shortfall of medical facilities, whether there will be a shortfall of infrastructure, we need to study. So why we are conducting this statistical inquiry? Because we want to take up a decision for the future in order to come up with the better policies. For example, you want to come up with a new product in the commercial space. Let me say, for example, you want to come up with a new tomato ketchup product. Okay, so for that, directly you cannot produce large quantities of tomato ketchup, and you cannot go for selling them in retail shops. Before that, you need to go with the study whether is there any chance for a new entrant, what should be the rate, what should be the flavor, where I need to sell them, what should be the packaging. So all this you need to study them before going for production. So that can be easily done with statistical inquiry. Okay, so what is statistical inquiry? A statistical inquiry means a search for knowledge through statistical methods. So let me consider some examples. First example is study of population of India. So for every 10 years we will be undertaking this huge exercise that is called as census. But because of coronavirus, this year we are not conducting it because of problem with respect to meeting each and every individual, or else with respect to it's a big exercise, or money will also be a major constraint nowadays. So we'll not be able to conduct that. But study of population of India, we will be meeting each and every individual, each and every unit will be met. We will be asking data, we'll be collecting data from them. So here it is an inquiry. So in this inquiry, we will be applying statistical tools and statistical methods. Similarly, study of wage structure of a factory. In a factory, there will be different levels, employees working at different levels. For you cannot give salary for all the employees at the same what to say level. We cannot fix salary by just saying that he is working from so many years, I'll pay him so much. No, you need to consider the level, in which level he is working, what is the risk of that particular job, and how many people he is meeting. All the things will be considered. On these parameters, a particular wage will be fixed to him, isn't it? So similarly, directly you cannot fix the salary, you need to consider certain parameters. So how you are going to study all this? By statistical methods. Okay, so that's why a statistical inquiry is a very important thing. Next, stages of statistical inquiry. You cannot consider this exercise, that is statistical inquiry, in one stage or one step. It will be considered in different stages. So there are two stages for statistical inquiry. The first stage is called as planning and preparation. Okay, so the first stage of statistical inquiry is planning and preparation. It's a very simple thing. So if you want to start up a business, directly one fine day you won't start up a shop and you will say that you'll announce that I am starting this particular business. Before starting a business, there will be lot of planning will go by. So what should be the capital that needs to be invested, what is my business idea, who is my target customer, what should be the pricing, promotion, marketing, packaging, each and everything you need to sit and study, whether it will work or not. So same thing for statistical inquiry also. For example, there is still few days before there was an inquiry, there was statistical inquiry that within a population of 1.3 crore population, 1.3 billion population, sorry, almost 27% of them are having an herd immunity to fight against coronavirus. Simply they have come up with a number? No. How they have come up with a number? Because they have studied, they have inquired. How they have inquired? They have met each and every, let us say, they have considered some sample. Well, you cannot meet 1.3 billion population. So what they have done? They have considered some unit, some population, some sample. They have met units of those sample, and they have collected data. So directly you cannot consider a sample. Directly you can go and meet a people. Before that, you need to plan whom to go and meet. What should be the question that need to ask? What tests need to be conducted? At what time you need to approach them? So these things need to be decided earlier. There are two stages of statistical inquiry. The first stage is planning and preparation. Okay. The second stage of statistical inquiry is execution of the survey. Okay, so you need to execute the survey. What do you mean by execution? In olden days, execution means giving capital punishment. They were a person who need to be executed. They were taken in the middle of the road and they will be executed, either shot, they will be hanged. That is called execution. But here in survey, that is not execution. Okay, so here execution means you need to implement what you have planned and prepared for. That needs to be implemented. So Steve Jobs, he was the founder of Apple company, isn't it? So according to him, he says that, to me, ideas are nothing unless executed. You can have any beautiful ideas. To have an idea, to have a dream, it doesn't cost you anything. But what is the use of just dreaming? For just writing ideas on a sheet of paper, it's of no use. You need to implement them. That is very, very important. So here implementation is nothing but execution. So in order to consider a statistical inquiry, you have planned and you have prepared for it thoroughly. But the second stage is very important, where you will be executing the survey. You will be constructing a team of members who are very qualified enough, who know what actually they are doing, what exercise they are conducting. They are actually knowing it. Okay. Next, you will be designing the questionnaire. You will be going and meeting each and every persons from whom you need to collect the data. You will be supervising that. You will be collecting the data. After collecting data, you will be analyzing them. You will be giving a final report. All these things come under execution of the survey. Okay, so for statistical inquiry, there are two stages. The first stage is planning and preparation, and the second one is execution of the survey. So this is what execution is meant by. So you will be having an idea. That idea needs to be implemented. Nothing but the idea needs to be worked on. That's why I have given this particular image. Next, even in the first stage, that is planning and preparation, that cannot be considered in one step. It is broken down into too many stages or too many steps. So for the success of any statistical inquiry, a perfect planning and preparation is essential. Simply you cannot go by. So in the planning, the following factors are to be carefully considered. So while planning, you need to consider few important elements, few factors. Let us go through them one by one. So the first factor is object of an inquiry. So okay, I am conducting a statistical inquiry. On which particular object? For example, I have considered an example of study of wage structure of a particular factory. So in a factory, there are too many people working. I want to come up with a new wage structure. For that, who is the object for my inquiry? So factory employees. For them, I need to construct a new wage structure. This is my object. Okay, so that's the first. You need to define what is your object of inquiry. And the second factor will be scope of the inquiry. So yes, I am making a particular statistical inquiry. So this inquiry will cover what all things? What is the scope? What is the domain of my inquiry? Next parameter or factor is units used for collection and measurement. For example, I have been assigned the work to study the level of pesticides in Coca-Cola or any other soft drinks. Okay, so then what I have to do? I need to plan. At the planning stage, what is my object of inquiry? I need to study pesticides level in a particular soft drink. So what is the scope of the inquiry? I will be considering all those soft drinks of any brand. I will be considering all the soft drinks. And units for collection is, I will be collecting, let us say, 50 ml from each bottle. I will be considering around, let us say, 1000 samples from different areas. From each unit, I will be considering only 50 ml. There I need to specify particularly what is the collection of the units, whether they are collected in terms of millimeter, centimeter, or ml, or kg, liter, whatever the things. There are too many different units are there. So but these units need to be precisely set in the beginning stage. Okay, so that is what units used for collection and measurement meant by. Next parameter factor is sources of data. Yes, for me, data may be available from different sources. I need to first of all decide from where I need to collect the data. Data may be available from the primary sources, maybe secondary sources. So first of all, I need to decide where from I will be collecting the data. Next, methods of collection of data. So whether I'm going to collect the data directly, that is I'll be going to the field, from field I'll be collecting the data, or else whether I'll be collecting the data from newspapers or magazines, what is and also what is that method I'm following, whether whether telephone, via telephone I'm whether collecting the data, or else can I collect the data whether through mail. So what is the method of collection of the data, that I need to say. Similarly, another factor that needs to be decided is framing a format. Yes, you will be collecting a data, fine. You will be coming up with around 10 or 15 set of data that need to be collected. But how are you going to collect them? What is the framing of the format? So in case if you in police especially, when they catch hold of a big thief, what they will do, they cannot they have to, what to say, subject him to a lot of questions. First of all, they will come up with format. What questions I need to ask? First of all, I should go with his names. What is his name, and what are his different alias names, or date of birth, and all the other things, and followed by that what all questions I need to ask. So first of all, I have to come concrete framing of format. The next one is accuracy level. Yes, I am studying regarding the level of pesticide within the soft drink, fine. What is the accuracy that is expected from my study? Whether the authority, whether they want to have accuracy, or else whether they don't want any accuracy, that first of all need to be decided. Because with respect to pesticide, a very small minute level of insecticide or pesticide within a soft drinks is going to harm a person, harm an individual. So in case if you have a little bit error in finding the accuracy also, it will be a catastrophic one. So that's why accuracy is very, very important. And last one is, what is the type of inquiry? Okay, how are you going to conduct this particular type of inquiry? So these are all the planning and preparation factors that you need to consider at the time of planning and preparation. Next, coming to the second stage of statistical inquiry, that is execution of the survey. Okay, now I am having a very good, beautiful idea, plan is ready. I have also prepared for it. Now I need to implement it. I need to execute it on the field. I need to do it. Okay, so what are the different things during which execution can be done? So after a perfect planning, the next stage is execution. Various steps are to be considered, are to be followed for execution. So the first stage is setting a team of administrator. That is very, very important. So for example, once in a 10 years we'll be conducting a census. So in order to conduct a census, you will be considering, you need to consider a team of administrators. Only one individual cannot conduct this exercise. Take the case of voting. So once in 5 years we'll be having a massive exercise of voting. So there will be a chief election officer. He will be at the helm of affairs. He will be the top authority. Under him, there will be too many different officers will be there. They will be assigned different states. Under them, again, there will be too many different low-level officers. So it goes on. So first of all, you need to set up a particular team of administrator who know the things what they are actually conducting. That is very, very important. And next, designing of questionnaire. This is very important. Okay, so what do you mean by questionnaire? Questionnaire is nothing but set of questions which we are going to ask to the respondents. For example, I want to start up a new business. Let us say I want to start up a business of retail shop. Just like more, I want to come up with a new business in Chikmagalur. So before starting that, I will be conducting a survey. I will be going and meeting too many citizens of Chikmagalur. Okay, I'll be meeting too many customers. So when I meet ordinary people, they will be saying their own ideas, their own problems, what they are facing in buying articles or else vegetables and all the things. Okay, so but before going and meeting them, I need to prepare a questionnaire. So what questions I need to ask, what should be the way of questions, whether the answers should be in terms of yes or no, or else too many lengthy questions should be there, or not. All these things, first of all, I need to design them. So this is what designing of questionnaire meant by. Okay, next one is selection and training of enumerators. So the administrator will sit and design the questionnaire. Later, these questionnaires will be sent through enumerators to the respondents. Who is an enumerator? Enumerator is nothing but a person who will be asking question to a respondent. Okay, administrator is not doing that. He will be sending the enumerator. Enumerator is nothing but one who is collecting data is referred as enumerators. Okay, you need to train them, you need to select them properly. So usually our homes will be visited by school teachers. So they are enumerators actually. They will be having a specific training regarding what questions to ask, how to ask them, all the things. So selection and training of enumerators. The next one is field work by enumerators and supervising them. So this is another step that need to be followed in the execution of the survey. Enumerators will here come to the field. They will go home to home, or depending upon the target audience, they will collect the data, and someone will supervise them. And followed by this follow-up work in the case of non-responsive. So we are unable to meet some of the respondents, then we need to have a follow-up procedure either via mail or calling them. We need to contact them, we need to collect the required data. Next, analysis of collected data. Yes, fine. Once all the data has been collected, now you need to analyze them. They need to be compiled. You need to work on them using certain statistical methods. Then you will be analyzing them. Once the analyzation is over, the final one is preparation of final report. So the final report will be prepared, and the final report will say what is the end result of this particular survey, statistical enquiry. Yes, we have conducted statistical enquiry. What is the, what to say, advice from our statistical enquiry, what needs to be done? So that is the final stage, that is preparation of final report. So in today's video we have studied regarding what is statistical enquiry and what are the stages of statistical enquiry. Thank you.